Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. If my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing BRICS versus Trump, Fort Knox and the missing gold, and also the US dollar. All these are in connection to one another. Now, if you guys don't know what BRICS is a formulation of countries who agree to have the new currency backed by gold instead of the United States US dollar. And so what they're essentially the countries are doing is that they agreed upon to get rid of the US dollar, devalue the US dollar, and to value their currency with gold because gold cannot be corrupted. The US dollar can be corrupted, but gold cannot. And they want to take the world, or at least countries, to the gold standard. The U.S. will struggle with it because the U.S. has no gold, or at least doesn't have the gold standard set up in currency form for the United States and everyday American. This also ties in with Fort Knox and the missing gold. And we'll talk about that in today's video. This was actually not a submission by me personally. This was not a submission by a subscriber. This was actually a submission by Spirit. So it's going to be kind of fun and interesting to see what they have to say in terms of this. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's begin. Let's start. I'm not going to waste your time. As you all know, this video is being recorded on none other than Wednesday, August 13th at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as and when I'm recording this specific video. This video again is just for entertainment, for educational purposes only as well. If you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, watching the video longer than normal, and sharing the video content with others really helps boost the algorithm here on this YouTube channel. If you have realized that YouTube has not been notifying you when I do post and upload videos, do not worry. Just go into the description and the comment section below. Follow my Blue Sky account and my Facebook group, and I will keep you in the loop by posting videos as they come out. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's begin. I don't want to waste your time. I know your time is very precious, and so is mine. So I do want to also put out a quick disclaimer. I'm not legally responsible for any financial advice that is in this video. You agree by watching this video that anything that I say or do in this video is just for entertainment and educational purposes only, and cannot be held liable outside of this video, and you understand that by watching this video. Alright, let's go ahead. So Spirit Angel, tell me about the missing gold in Fort Knox. This was a submission by Spirit, and this was actually very interesting that Spirit asked this specific question. I actually have a tarot deck full of gold, but I don't know where it is. I don't know where that tarot deck is. I assume I probably don't have it or I lost it. I'm hearing the word fortune cookie. Okay, so I got a different one. This is the fortune cookie one. This is actually daily affirmations. But, as you all know with me, I don't really read the way other people do. I just read whatever my intuition says. So we're going to go with that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the missing gold in Fort Knox. If there is even missing, is the Fort Knox gold even missing? Let's go there, let's start there. Okay. Is the Fort Knox gold, the American Reserve for gold bars and everything, missing? The way I found it is the way it gets placed. Is the gold bars in Fort Knox missing? Okay, so we have 3 of cups here on the bottom. This is gold. This is telling me that there's a celebration for its use. They're used here in the US in Fort Knox, and here's the tower card. So somebody took it. Tower card. So this is somebody celebrating. Oh, look, we got our hands on the gold, but not. So yeah, I do feel, again, this video is just for entertainment and for educational purposes only as well. I cannot confirm this. This is just for entertainment, hypothetically speaking. And this is the Queen of Pentacles. We're asking, does Fort Knox still have gold in it, or was it taken away? The Queen of Pentacles reverse, it means reverse. And as you have been with me for quite a while, you know this means that somebody's out of power, someone's out of control, doesn't have as much power or influence. Gold doesn't have as much power and influence, yes, in hindsight, but it also means that there's no money there. There's no gold. That's why it's reversed. Now, this is somebody who's watching and a very protective, keeping a close eye on the gold reserve. This is reversed. It's saying that there's no protection, there is no washing because the gold has been striked out. It feels like there's like the biggest heist in America. That's what it feels like. The biggest heist, the biggest seal. Yeah. Because when we start to ask the question a little bit more literally, we have the Nine of Cups reversed. If you guys been with me for a while, you know this is somebody who's standing on, looking at the camera, and you see from behind, you see all the images, all the things behind them while taking the picture. This in reverse is saying, I know you look at this man, but you don't see anything from behind them. So this is saying that the goal that we're looking for, you can't find it. It's just not in the background. It's out of view, which means the goal is hidden. We're asking, did something happen to the gold? Was the gold stolen from Fort Knox? And here the Two of Pentacles, which symbolizes, yeah, it has been with certainty, something has been altered with the gold in Fort Knox. And this is represented by the Nine of Swords, which tells us that there was some sort of attack or something happened at Fort Knox where the gold was depleted from it. We do also have here on a separate two questions. This one is the one that clarifies the card that fell, and the card that fell is the Queen of Swords, which symbolizes justice and making sure that there is harmony in this. It's reversed as well. It's saying that there was a lack of harmony. There's a lack of structure to the institution that was designed to protect the gold reserve. That's why the Ace Wands here as well is coming in as reversed. And this is the card of like somebody laying down the law, making sure that things are protected behind the scenes, making sure that justice and harmony are on the side of protecting the currency. But it feels like there was a lack of protection, lack of justice, a lack of doing and protecting the gold reserve. There was a lack of it. There was a lack of protection here. And because of that, the gold reserve in Fort Knox was weakened. Because the gold was hidden with certainty, and the gold reserve in Fort Knox is weakened. And we have here, when we get the clarifier cards, we have here, I love being debt-free. Now, we ask the question, did the gold in Fort Knox in the U.S. go missing? That's the question. Well, who is the massive amount of debt? Who needs to pay off their debt? I think we all know the answer to this person. I love being debt-free. What this really means is I love conning Americans so that I can benefit from them. We have here, I trust in the perfection of my divine time and allow my life to unfold as it should. What does this mean? This means that the bird, the eagle, this is not really an eagle, but it's the bird, doesn't matter. It's giving me Secret Service. You ever heard of like Secret Service where they say the eagle's on the move, the eagle's on the move? Who authorized this? 45. And he did it with precision. He did this with timing. Remember I said the word, it felt like the biggest heist on American soil? That's exactly what it is. In order to pull off the biggest heist, you need to get people to believe that there's actually stuff still there. And you have here, I am shining star. I am a shining star, and I'm surrounding myself with people who encourage my brightness. What happened to the gold? Have you guys ever seen the Oval Office? It's full of gold everywhere. I wonder if that was painted gold, fake gold, or is it real gold from Fort Knox? I am a shining star, and I surround myself with people who encourage my brightness. What happens when you put gold in front of light? It reflects. And doesn't this often look like metal? It says here, my career is bursting with opportunities to express my creativity and passion. And what color is this? It's yellow. And what color is it? Gold? Yellow. My career is bursting with opportunities to express my creativity and passion. It sounds a lot like 45. It sounds a lot like people who surround himself with, that is bursting with opportunity to use and abuse the office of the presidency and the executive power and its branches to be able to get the goal that they want through a very creative means by doing so. They actually thrive off of doing this. They actually thrive off of doing something like this. Because what's on the top of the deck here? We have the word prosperity. And what's the top of the deck? Let's see what the card says here. It's stuck. Hold on. I have no nails. I've been biting my nails because I've been so nervous. Okay, so it says here, as I celebrate and support the financial success of others, I open my life to even more good. So you also asked yourself, what happened to the gold? The gold was also used by those who are in cahoots with him, those who he owes debt to, right? He paid them. He used the gold to pay people off. And it says here on the bottom, emotional health. And it says here, I honor my time and energy by making smart choices that leave me feeling good about myself. He feels really good about the thing that he just did to the country. That he feels really good about taking the gold, taking the reserve, the thing that makes America wealthy. He feels good about that. He feels good about stealing the gold reserve. He feels happy about that. He feels very certain about that. Again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. I obviously cannot verify whether or not this information is true. But what I can verify is this video is just for entertainment purposes only. And I'm not legally liable for anything I do or say in this video, and you agree because you're watching me right now. So, with that said, Spirit, I want to know, with the moldings and everything that's in the Oval Office with Donald Trump right now in the White House, was that the gold by any chance that was dipped? Was any of those things dipped in gold? The gold found at Fort Knox? Or was that just painted gold? Okay. So I'm actually hearing an answer here. They're actually giving me an answer directly through my clairaudient ear. They were saying that the ones at a lower level, like so about 7 feet around his area, are all fake gold. It's all painted gold. But the ones higher, above 7 feet or taller, are actual real gold. And then they actually were dipped in gold in the White House. The reason for this is that if somebody was to come into the room and say a congressman or a senator was to accuse him of stealing the gold reserve, they walk into the room, take one of the items that's painted gold, and they test it to find out it's fake gold. And you know, if you create this illusion and you want to get away with it, you create more fake or docs. You dox the whole thing by creating fake dummies around the entire room, so they're more likely to take the fake one than take the real one. And when they test the fake one, they come down and say, fake gold, not real gold. And so the claim that they said that they're accusing the president of falls flat on itself. It's a way to protect their own interests. But the reason why 7 feet and above is because most people are 6 feet and below. And so therefore, by putting them 7 feet above, like where everybody can't reach them, they can't grab it and test it for metal. They can't test that for gold. And because, let's say Donald Trump has a meeting with people and politicians where he owes a debt to, he can just take that gold off and give it to them as money without ever having to leave the Oval Office, because by doing so, he's able to underhand and pay people through blackmail or by other form of means without being recorded on the mic or on video. All he can do is tell all his workers to leave the room, just leave me and this other person in this room, and he goes and says, takes it off, he gives it you, and you're done. No interaction, nothing. All non-verbal cues. The whole idea of this, the reason why he painted everything in gold, is him getting Richard Nixon. Whatever happened with Richard Nixon in the Oval Office, Donald Trump was trying to ensure that there's no repeat, and by doing so, he created currency within the Oval Office by ensuring that he could pay people who he needs to pay without ever getting caught on camera or on video. That is why he did it. That is why it's painted in gold. But everything else within the 7-foot parameter, it's all fake gold. Everything above 7 feet is real gold. Anyway, going back into the room here, we're asking, did Donald Trump paint everything in the room with real gold and fake gold? The answer was from Spirit was they used both. He used both. They just explained it to us. But we're going to read a little bit more because I already asked the questions. I didn't expect to get an answer that fast. We do have the Ace of Cups reversed. This is the automatic reserve. This is not unlimited. You cannot get a free-flowing amount of gold continuously, right? There is no fountain or machine that can make unlimited amount of gold. This is the Ace of Cups. It symbolizes that there's a limitation even when it comes to gold. It's also followed by the Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Nine of Pentacles reversed is indicating to me clearly that there's a lack of ambition, a lack of understanding, a lack of cohesiveness. Why is this significant? Why is this important? Well, particularly, this is important when it comes to the Nine of Pentacles. It's so important because of the Nine of Pentacles here being reversed. Hold on, I was just getting a message. Okay, so because of the lack of reserve and the reserve not being there and the Nine of Pentacles being reversed, it's saying that there's a devaluation of gold. The goal and idea was to devalue the amount of gold per bar. Because if you can spread a little bit of gold in everything goes up in value while decreasing the value of the bar itself. And you're also followed by the Three Wands here. The Three of Wands is to also oversee the destruction of the United States. Again, this is what this card symbolizes, overseeing the destruction of the United States, seeing the Americans suffer while I myself am living lavish, living large, living big. This is also an ego thing. It's also very egomatic. This is somebody who wants to oversee the destruction of the United States, because when he sees people being poor and people struggling, it raises the value of the U.S. gold to the point where he feels like the gold is more valued than it was if people were able to survive, because people will need gold to be able to bring about a new currency. And here you have is the Page of Pentacles reversed. It was never about giving back to the people. It's never about making sure that there was ever a point in time where the gold will ever be given back, because I do feel there's going to come a point in time where people are going to find out that the gold is missing. And even if they find out it was Trump who did this, even if they do, I have a feeling that there will always be pieces of gold that will go missing, and the United States can never recover that back. And that's why the Page of Pentacles comes in as reversed. Underhanded supervision, underhanded gold to other people. And that is why the U.S. can never really recover that gold reserve back, because it has gone missing over the years. He overvalued, overinflated the price of gold by making the everyday American poorer to increase the discrepancy and the wealth factor of how much gold can be valued at within the United States. This is about allowing Trump to live large through egomaniacal process. And when I'm saying that he's living in the mind of an ego. He's not somebody who's thinking about with compassion or kindness for all his people. He's thinking about what is best for Donald Trump. And that comes in clearly in this video, and particularly in the question, and did he dip everything in gold? The answer is yes. And also he dipped it in fake gold as well to cover himself. That is how, this is the greatest heist of them all, because it would go unnoticed for a while, actually. And the U.S. will never, ever be able to recover the full 100% of gold reserves. Okay, so now that we understand about what happened to the gold in Fort Knox, whether or not where the gold went, we understand that, who it was given to, we understand all that. Now I want to talk about the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar and BRICS. Tell us about the U.S. dollar, spirits and angels. Tell me about the U.S. dollar. Will the United States dollar collapse? Will the U.S. dollar collapse? Again, I'm not illegally liable for any financial institution, any financial statements that I say in this video. And you agree because you're watching. Okay, now give me the information regarding BRICS. And them wanting to do away with the US dollar and institute a gold standard. Okay, so let me just tell you what BRICS is, just so you guys are aware and well versed in the idea and the concept of what BRICS is. So let me just look that up for you guys. BRICS. Okay, so what is BRICS? It says here, BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprised of 10 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. The idea of BRICS-like group can be traced back to Russian Foreign Minister and the two former formed RIC and IBSA. Also, South Africa also joined the alliance, and this was founded back on June 16, 2009. So what is BRICS and what is the purpose? BRICS is an acronym for the powerful grouping of the world's leading emerging market economies, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. The BRIC mechanism aims to promote peace, security, and development and cooperation. So, let's take a look. Let's find out now that you kind of understand more of the story, understand it, that they want to do away with the US dollar and they want to institute the gold standard. So, this is the US dollar up against BRIC. And we ask the question, will the US dollar collapse? Doesn't have to mean tomorrow. Because when I ask that question, it means at any point in time when the US dollar does indeed collapse, where is BRIC in this? So, let's read. The first card that comes in is the Two of Cups reversed. The Two of Cups reversed is the gold. Remember I talked about the gold and, ensuring that, Donald Trump was overseeing, or the Republican administration was overseeing the destruction of the United States and how everyday Americans were struggling financially. This is the Two of Cups reversed. This is the unionship between the American people and its government. It's reversed. This is the first step to the collapse of the US dollar, according to what tarot cards say. This is leading the first step and collapse in the US is when the government no longer works for the people, when the government no longer functions for the American people. It's when politicians put wealthy people over everyday American people, over hardworking Americans. This is the Two of Cups reversed. This is the lack of unity. This is disloyalty. This is a broken social contract. It also follows as well as the Queen of Cups. This is the IRS. The Queen of Cups is watching very closely an idea. It's when America becomes a police state. It's when America polices every nation into doing something. When a country uses its economic power to silence others. When it uses its power to bring blockade, to bring, what's it called? What's that word that they use when they block a whole bunch of countries block a country to punish them for an action politically without using military force, but it's like economic force. Embargo, something like that, maybe like an embargo. This is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is watching very closely. When you use the power of the economic freedom and the economic form, you also threaten your power from within, because the more time you use it as punishment, the more likely someone else comes in to want to have a desire to tear you down. It's no what to call it. It does not lack understanding that countries like China, India, Russia, and South Africa, for example, and Brazil, all big economies, all big nations, all want to do away with the US dollar because the US has used a strong US dollar influence to break these economies, to break these countries, to punish them. And therefore, they retaliate by saying, hey, listen, now you create this motivation to retaliate against you. They didn't have to retaliate. It didn't have to be like this. You chose this outcome. You chose this reality. They chose this. Therefore, the US dollar will suffer because it's when America chooses to use its strong financial position to punish others by weakening them and their financial position. And here you have it, the King of Wands. Who is the one who institutes this? Very strongly, a Republican. It's when the Republicans uses this to institute this idea. This is also coming as tariffs. When you use your strength of the US dollar to punish other countries, but really you're punishing your own people. Again, furthering the disparity between the wealthy and the poor. You have here the presidency, which represents the star card. It's when you give too much to one group that already has a lot, and you give a little to those who don't have much. It's when the government and the institution within the U.S. focus on giving more to the wealthy, the ones who have so much, where they give very little to those who need more help. This is the star card. The star card is when that governmental focus. So it's leading. We are already here. The story already tells us this is exactly where we are. We already have a disparity between the rich and poor. We already have a governmental institution where the government and congressmen, senators, and president all turn their backs on the American people. They broke the social contract. They abused the strength of America's U.S. dollar to punish other countries. And they used the tariffs as a form of punishment not only on the foreign country, but it used it as major punishment on the American people. And by doing so, you have the star card here, which means that they were helping people who are already fortunate and not helping those who are less fortunate. And because of this, we get into the next phase of the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar will be inflated, which is represented by the Nine of Wands reversed. It will be inflated. But then, eventually, it reaches the point of a limitation. And after those limitations and those inflation numbers, it comes down crashing because those numbers were never actually real. And we enter into the Six of Wands reverse, which tells us trouble in the future for the U.S. dollar. I say if we were to predict where we are right now, before reading BRICS, I would say we are about a little bit through the star card here. We're about to be inflated. We already have, I think Trump just put somebody else in for the numbers, for the IRS numbers and job numbers and job reports and stuff like that. We're going to get closer. We're almost out of the star. We're headed into the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Wands reverse. This is telling me here that the U.S. dollar is pretty close to a collapse. Now let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the BRICS and that economic forum group. We have here Five of Swords reversed. The Five of Swords is talking about a unionship of countries with many different ideologies, many different concepts, but they all have one goal in mind. Take down the U.S. dollar and make us stronger, make us wealthier, make us the leading cause. Let's not allow another country, one country in particular, to dominate and to use their financial power to punish everybody else because we do something that is not to the liking or to the preference of the superpower America. And this is what this card represents. It means we walk away from the U.S. dollar. We walk away from America. We walk away from this idea that one country can dominate. Now, underneath the Queen of Cups here, as America is watching very closely and keeping an eye on certain things, we have the Seven of Wands reversed. These are countries that are not very resistant. They're not resistant to the U.S. at this point in time. They need an idea. They need a motive. And at this point, right, we're asking about the Queen of Cups. This is somebody who is punishing countries who turn their backs on their own people. And that's what this card symbolizes, that America might be watching very closely on the country. And she's watching, but she cannot say outwardly what the threat is because internally, the threat has always been from within, never from without. And that's why this Seven of Wands is reversed, because they haven't shown any ambitions yet to defy the U.S. dollar, so it didn't give America the reason to do anything. Instead, BRICS is waiting for the collapse of the U.S. dollar to be fully implemented, to be fully instituted. And as, the Republican or the Republican-type president comes into effect, which is already past that, he starts to adopt tariffs and stuff like that, other economic forms that weaken the U.S. dollar and strengthen those at the wealthy or at the top. Other nations are looking for other avenues. This gives other countries motive to join BRICS. It gives other countries an idea, a coalescence. So as he is thinking that he is weakening nations around him, he's actually weakening the influence of the U.S. dollar and strengthening the bond within BRICS. Underneath the star card here, while the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer in the United States, we have all these countries looking at all this gold, all this money, all this income and say, hey, listen, we don't want to do the same problem that America is doing with the U.S. dollar. How can we ensure that money and wealth is evenly distributed among all of us? So this feels like this is kind of like a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, you tip a whole bunch of people, and at the end of the night, all of them pool their tips, and they divide accordingly. That's what it feels like. It feels like They're adding all the money and economies together and then pooling it to where it's needed. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's a new form of governmental system. Then you have the 9 of wands reversed. It's inflation. Inflating the numbers to appear that the US dollar is really strong, but really it's just not. It's actually weak. And here's the devil card. We get a little bit closer to the collapse of the US dollar and the rise of BRICS currency. And you have the devil card here. The devil card is waiting your turn. It's about chaining and keeping people embedded into a system. I feel like this also means digital. So at this point in time, there's a point of digital currency here as well that's going to play a major role in BRICS. And it's going to be instituted with the fall of the US dollar, paper currency. And then when the US dollar does indeed collapse, which is represented by the 6 of swords reverse, we have here Page of Swords, which represents through BRICS, which means this one comes out on top and say, I'm here to save you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to save you. Join us, and you won't suffer no more. Join us, and you can just say goodbye to the US dollar. I will feel that when the US dollar does indeed collapse, many nations will opt to adopt a new form of currency through BRICS and will refuse to hold on to the US dollar. The US dollar will lose its value overnight. Just like that. And this is the story of the US dollar up against BRICS and where BRICS is going. But BRICS is going to use digital currency in a different way than the United States digital currency format. There are many policies and many wealthy people on the top who are going to use digital currency to get the agenda that they desire. But instead, what I'm getting here is that because it's multiple countries taking and pulling up all the resources, all the financial gain, and dividing it accordingly, it's going to be a lot harder for a wealthy individual to hijack the amount of money that goes into this pool. And therefore, in order for them to do that, they have to hijack every nation that pulls money in. And in that case, it's going to be very difficult to achieve that goal, making sure that the gold standard stays uncorrupted. And that's exactly where it is now. And that's exactly what I feel. This is not my intuition. This is not my personal belief. Personally, I don't like digital currency, but that's what this says here. And I'm just going to tell you what it said. Like, I'm not going to use my opinion. I'm not going to try to influence the cards in any way. I'm just going to tell you straight up and tell you either after or before what my real opinion is. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys liked today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Love you.